Morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Miss ma'am, fix one Amal.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Good morning, Amal. Yes, so the first hour itself psychology. Will you feel sleepy?
Oh, ma'am.
No.
Interesting.
You like psychology, Amal?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Shall we do a quick revision of what we have learned till now? Yeah, Amal Roshan, will you summarize everything what we have learned till now? Just the topics.
What is psychology
What is psychology?
and covert and overt
Before that,
experiences,
experiences. Very good. Before that, one more concept from the definition.
mental processes,
Mental processes. Very good. Then, third one
behavior,
was behavior. Overt and covert, short term, long term, all those. Then, after that,
yes,
that's all what you remember. Okay, let's ask somebody else. Abhilash,
Ma'am, then psychology as a natural science.
louder, please.
Ma'am, then psychology as a natural science.
Hmm.
And then psychology as a social science.
Hmm.
And then we went through that case study about the two girls. And then
Under which topic did we learn psychology as a natural science and social science?
psychology as a discipline.
Psychology as a discipline. Yes.
Yeah, and then we stopped at how mind and the brain are connected.
Understanding mind and behavior.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yes. And we were discussing about the case studies. Fine. Now, what is the definition of psychology, Anila?
Psychology is formally defined as the mental processes which psychology is defined as the science which studies the mental process and experience and behaviors
In
context,
what context?
different context.
In different context. Okay. What is the literal meaning of the term psychology? Split it and say. Shreya.
Psyche,
Means?
soul,
And?
logos,
Logos means?
science,
Science. Okay. So, science or study of a subject. Logos means science or study of a subject. Then, what else did we learn? Psychology as natural science and social science we have discussed so many times. So, we'll move on to the next topic. Please switch on your videos, everyone. Rose, Somar, Alina, and Meryl. Abhinav. Switch on the videos. Omar. Is the screen visible? Is the screen
Yes, sir.
visible? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So we finished till this case, brain injuries case. And we're moving on to the next subtopic, that is relationship between mind and the body. Earlier, it was thought that there is no relationship between them, between mind and the body. They were thought to be parallel to each other. Parallel means, what do you mean by parallel?
separate from each other.
Separate from each other.
Both way.
Hmm. Unmute and say.
Both going same way.
Both going same way, but do they meet? No. Just like our
meet
parallel
differently.
lines that we learn in mathematics. This is not exactly parallel, but still go somewhat like this, isn't it? If we extend the lines, we'll continue like this, but they never meet. On the other hand, we have intersecting lines which meet at a certain point. Understood? So these concepts, that is mind and body, or these two entities, they were considered as parallel concepts or parallel entities which never meet or which never have any relationship with each other. It was thought to be so, but later on, recent studies show that this is not the case, and we'll see some of the case studies again to prove that there is a relationship between mind and the body. And the topics that we are going to study now, they are not case studies as such, but they are findings. They are findings from the earlier studies. Okay, not the whole case study as such. So the first one, it is affective neuroscience. Do you know what affect means? Affect. I told you, please switch on the video. Usually what happens is most of the teachers complain that the students have, students are sitting with the videos off, and I proudly say that never happens in psychology class. Usually it does not. That's what I'm telling. It's my prestige issue. Please switch on your videos. Oh my god, I think we have so many fans today. So many people from other classes are joining. Just a minute. Okay. Do you know what affect is? The term affect. AFFECT. Affect.
Which affect us?
Which affect us. Right? Can you
Yes,
put
sir.
the word affect in a sentence and tell me? Make a sentence with the word affect. Hmm. Make a sentence
Study
with
what affect in exam?
what? I didn't hear you. Repeat.
You study what affect in the exam?
You study what affect in exam. What kind of a sentence is that? Modify that. Any other person who wants to try?
Ma'am, what about the tsunami affected the whole village?
Yes, the tsunami affected the whole village, which means that is influencing something else, isn't it? To show that influence, we use the word affect. Do you know any other meaning for this particular word? Amal Roshan, you meant the same meaning, right? To influence something, to cause something. Yes. Okay. Any other meanings? Any other meaning of this word that you know?
Affection.
Hmm?
Affection.
Affection? No. Some of you are reading the entire slide to find out the meaning. Read. Let me see if we can find out. Any idea? No. From the title, can you get the meaning?
Ma'am, does it mean to influence someone emotionally or mentally?
No, you're close. No idea. Okay, the term affect in psychology, I mean, from today onwards, you'll come across this particular word, but in a different context. Mainly, it deals with emotions. Your emotions, feelings, mood. To suggest all these things, we use this term affect. So, if I tell you that mm, depression, that is influencing your affect or affecting your affect, that means it influences or your emotions or feelings and moods that is influenced by the particular disorder or the symptoms of the disorder, and vice versa is also true. Okay. Yes. So the term affect generally deals with emotions. Understand that much and keep. Okay. So here we have affective neuroscience. So one finding is from the field of affective neuroscience. What is neuroscience now? Neuro and science. Two terms.
Study of nerves.
Study of brain.
Study of brain, spinal cord, everything together. What do we call that? Nervous system. Study of nervous system. Mainly, neuroscience deals with the nervous system, the neural connections. I hope you have studied about neurons, the
Yes,
functional
ma'am.
unit of the nervous system. Okay, so what would be affective neuroscience then? Neuroscience that would deal with
Emotions.
emotions. It is kind of a subfield of neuroscience, the general neuroscience. Okay, so studies showed that there is a relationship between mind and behavior. Positive visualization techniques and feeling positive emotions can bring about significant changes in the bodily processes. One example that you can have here is laughter therapy. Have you come across that therapy anywhere?
Ma'am, old people.
Huh?
Ma'am, old people, they like laugh like crazy together.
Okay, but have you come across this scene?
And this
Ah,
hypnotism.
it's not hypnotism. Laughter therapy means laughing is therapeutic in nature.
Humor, stand-up comedy.
Stand-up comedy, yes, that is a daily life application. I'm telling about the particular scene of laughter therapy because when
And
I hear of laughter, so many.
so many people gather and laugh.
Yes, exactly. I mean, when I hear of laughter therapy, I get a particular scene in my mind. That's what I'm asking you. Do you have such a
I've
scene
seen
in
it
your
in
mind?
movies.
Yes,
People
ma'am.
stand around in a circle and they raise their hands and laugh.
Yeah. Which movie?
Bangalore days.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody who has not watched that movie? Very rare, no? Yeah. You can relate to it. And even when we watch that movie, we kind of laugh together with them, isn't it? It's kind of therapeutic for us too. I mean, at least for me. Okay. Anyways, so positive visualization technique, which means you visualize something, you imagine something in a positive manner. Suppose I ask you to close your eyes and then visualize something or a happy moment in your life which you would never miss, which you never want to miss in life. That is positive visualization. Now, if I ask you to imagine yourself after 5 years in a very good position, you have accomplished all your dreams, and then not after 5 years, no, some 10 or 20 years, you have accomplished all your dreams, and then you're very satisfied with your life, you're very happy with your life. I asked you to imagine so. Then that is also positive visualization. You try to visualize something that is positive for you. The things that are positive for you might not be positive for me. So that is specific for a person. Like if you like going to a beach, seashore, and then enjoying the sunny day, it might not be positive for me because I like hilltops and mountains and cold weather. Hmm? So positive visualization and the techniques depends on the client or the person also. Okay, and feeling positive emotions. So when we visualize positive things, we can feel positive emotions also, and experiencing positive emotions that also creates significant changes in the bodily processes. Suppose for people with severe diseases, organic diseases, which means the bodily physiological problems, if they are sent for this laughter therapy or similar therapies, it has shown very much, it has been proven that it's very much effective to change their bodily conditions. Even if it is in minor forms, it has been very effective. Okay, so that is about affective neuroscience. Then next one is about Dean Ornish. It's about a person, and again, it's a similar example. Same case of positive visualizations. Here, what happened is Dean Ornish is an American physician and researcher. Studies show that a person with blocked arteries was made to visualize that blood was flowing through his blocked arteries. Okay, now my question, what are arteries? Where are my biology tuition students? What are arteries? Sanam,
Tubes, ma'am, which carry blood.
what? Once more.
Tubes which carry blood, oxygen rich.
Tubes. Oxygenated, oxygen rich. What did you say? I didn't hear.
Something oxygenated blood.
Oxygenated blood. Yeah, arteries
Ma'am,
are the.
aorta and pulmonary.
Ah, okay. So arteries are the blood vessels, not tubes. Arteries are the blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood, or the blood that is rich in oxygen, the pure blood. We call it the pure blood. And some of us call it the good blood rather than the bad blood. Okay. Yes. And again, nothing related to this, but which is the artery that carries deoxygenated blood?
Pulmonary artery.
Pulmonary artery. Very good. Okay. So, what was the study? A person with blocked arteries. There were blocks in a person's arteries, so, which means the blood will not be able to flow in a smooth manner through those arteries. And that person was made to visualize that blood was flowing through his blocked arteries. Okay, that was done. Positive visualization was done. And later, significant relief was obtained by these patients as the degree of blockage became significantly less. But this technique is not very simple as we see in the words. Okay, like one fine morning you are having a block in the artery, and then the next day I'm coming to you, I'm asking you, wake up, please visualize that blood is flowing through your artery, and the next minute you're fine. That's not the way. It has a set of steps. When you study about the therapeutic processes, we have a whole chapter on therapeutic process in class 12. You learn that how it is done, what are the steps to be followed, what are the mandatory things that we should do before the therapy and after the therapy and during the therapy, everything. Okay, so it is done in systematic way, not like the usual discussions or usual techniques that we apply in daily life. Okay, so
So,
that is
ma'am, is
it.
it like tricking the mind?
Kind of tricking the mind, which would help the body in turn.
Yeah, ma'am, because I've heard about this trick where when you wake up after you sleep, if you think you had a good sleep, that means like you'll be energetic. But like if you feel like you haven't had a good sleep, you'll be really tired.
Yes. And if you think that this will be a good day, there are chances that it might be a good day. Good
Mm.
day. Okay. And have you heard of placebo effect?
Yeah, yeah. Sleep placebo effect.
Huh?
Sleep placebo effect. That's what I read.
Sleep placebo effect. Generally, you know what what placebo effect is?
Yeah, faking something into tricking oneself or someone else.
I'll try to explain that in a very common manner which you can understand. Suppose mm, one person
Ma'am,
who thinks, yes, Amal,
if you inject sterile injection, patient think that it's a good medicine. It's a
yes,
plastic. It's a plastic.
yes,
Plastic.
what happens, we'll take this example, I'll just modify and tell you. One person who thinks that he or she has a particular disease, hmm, and insists that he or she wants treatment, wants to be treated by the doctor. Hmm. So what happens is mm, one common friend or might be a family doctor comes, approaches this person, and then gives a duplicate injection, hmm, which is not for the disease. But the fact that the person is getting the injection is creating a placebo effect. That itself is relieving the particular person. That itself is a relief for the particular person. That is the thing. Alina, why are you laughing? Is that Alina itself? Okay. Did you understand what placebo is? Hmm. There is a
Yes, ma'am.
story from ancient times. There was a king. Hmm? Let's stop sharing. There was a king, and he was asking his fellow people to build a statue of his own, a huge statue of his own, just like as you see in Bahubali. Hmm? And then what happened is each time the sculptor finished the work and calls his king to um, see the statue, this king would say, no, there is a problem here, there is a problem there. And this guy tried so many days and then modified the parts and then again sculptured, modified. This continued for several days. And finally, one day, the sculptor got very angry, very frustrated, very irritated because he has been doing his work in a very fine manner. And this king always tries to find the mistakes. Hmm. And again, on one fine day, the sculptor the sculptor informed the king that the the work of the statue is over and you can come and see it. So again, king comes to visit, and king says, "There is a problem with my nose." Have you heard this story before? Anyone?
Ma'am,
Yes. No. No. Okay. Uh, And what the sculptor does is he climbs on top of the statue and then just does action. He doesn't do anything actually, but he just does some action and then he climbs down. Uh, okay. And then what happens is the king says, now it is perfect. Okay, the sculptor did not do anything, but this king had a habit of finding mistakes, and then sculptor understood that because he got frustrated. Okay, and finally, this was the thing that happened. I'll remove you if you play that again. I wonder if it is Alan behind the screen. Okay. Did you understand how that works? Yeah, that is a kind of uncommon example of placebo. So now the king is also happy, the sculptor is also happy. Fine. We'll see the rest. So that was a case of Dean Ornish. Dean Ornish was a physician and researcher. It was this study was conducted among his patients. Okay. Then the third one, mental imagery. Anybody with phobia?
Yes, ma'am. Same phobia, arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else with any other phobia?
If a huge person here, we have a phobia.
Huge?
Person is there, we have a crowd. We have
Huge person means a lot of people. Do you mean a lot of people around you? Yeah, that is some other kind of phobia, social phobia. Okay. And then
Claustrophobia.
claustrophobia, irrational fear
Trypophobia.
for
Small place.
closed
Yes,
spaces.
miss.
Congested spaces.
Ma'am,
Hmm?
trypophobia.
Closed. What is it?
Trypophobia.
Trypophobia. What's that?
ma'am, height,
Ma'am, it's
phobia, height.
Yeah, heights. Fear of heights. That's also there. Just a minute. Okay.
Miss, how are you?
I'm fine, my dear. Okay. So mental imagery. Mental imagery is one of the techniques that we use for cognitive behavior therapy. That we'll learn later. But it is one of the methods which are very useful for treating phobias. Hmm? And here what happens is it refers to the images generated by a person in his or her mind. It's similar to again positive visualization, but here what we are imagining is not anything positive for the person, but regarding what the problem that person is facing. Okay, because for people with phobia, what happens is suppose arachnophobia, a person is phobic towards spiders. What happens is it's not like the usual fear that any of us have. It is not like you see the spider and then you run. That's common. If a spider is on your sitting on your hand, you'll jump off and then flee from the place. That's common. That's natural human tendency. Okay, but that's not the case with people with phobia because now you saw the picture, no? Picture of a spider. Even that is very irritating for people with phobia. Even
Yes,
if
miss.
they see even if they see a particular image in a particular book or maybe on a screen, that itself is very irritating and frustrating for the person. It's disturbing them always. So you can imagine how much they would react or respond when they actually see a spider in front of them, isn't it?
Excellent.
And I lost my flow. What was I speaking about?
Person gets afraid of spiders even when they see it in pictures.
Ah, yes. And that happens in phobia. In this case, arachnophobia. So what happens? What we have to do, I mean, the therapist has to do is ask the person to imagine. Use imagery, visual imagery. Imagine these particular thing that the person is or the client is phobic towards. Suppose if you're fearful or phobic towards heights, then the client is asked to imagine or have an image of him or her standing on top of Burj Khalifa. Enough phobic phobia towards height, no? Yeah. So just like that, visual imagery is used. That is this technique. Mental imagery refers to the images generated by a person in his or her mind. They have been used to cure various kinds of phobias, that is irrational fears of objects and situations. You can note this if you want. Phobias are irrational fears of objects and situations. Irrational fears means
Oh my God.
It's not rational. Irrational fears means it's not rational, which means there is no particular logical reason for it. Got that? Okay. And why is it called irrational?
Because it has no strong reason
Nicholas,
to exist.
Yes, miss. Right.
Like, suppose arachnophobia.
Nicholas,
Again, we take this example. And I told you about the pictures of spiders. People who are arachnophobic, they are phobic towards even towards the pictures. But can those pictures threaten us, or can they harm us in any way?
no,
Harm us.
ma'am. No.
No, isn't it? Yes, but spiders, when they are, I mean, if you have poisonous spiders around you, they can harm you, isn't it?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
because of that, we people get frustrated or fearful towards it. But that's not phobia. You have to understand that phobia is always irrational fears of objects and situations and animals or something like that. We have different categories of phobia. We'll learn all that in the disorder section next year. Fine, mental imagery is clear, no? Okay. Next
ma'am.
one, psychoneuroimmunology. We'll break that into psychoneuroimmunology. Tell me, what are the things involved?
Psycho
Hmm.
as in psychology, I'm guessing.
Hmm.
And then neuro as in the nervous system.
Neurology.
Hmm.
And then
Correct.
immunology as in getting immune to something.
Immunity.
Immune system deals with the
Yeah.
immune system. That's correct. It's a relationship between the mind, the immune system, the psychological processes, the nervous system, everything together. So it is a study of the interaction between, you can underline that if you have the textbook, or you can note down in the lecture note. It is a study of the interaction between psychological processes and the nervous and immune systems of the human body. Oh my God. Shall I remove this person?
Yes, ma'am.
No, no.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. It is this again, write down if you have not written. It is the study of the interaction between psychological processes and the nervous and immune systems of the human body. So this is the psycho, this is the neuro, and this is the immuno part. Psychological processes, nervous system, immune system. Okay, this also emphasizes the role played by the mind in strengthening the immune system. Also known as psychoendoneuroimmunology, which means there is a role played by endocrine glands in between. Okay. Yeah, this is the picture. See, nervous system, endocrine system, immune system. Everything working together with the nervous system. Which are the two main organs in the nervous system?
Brain and
Brain
spinal
and
cord.
spinal cord.
Brain and spinal cord. And it is the brain that has the main role in psychology. Okay. And what is the main role of spinal cord?
To transport messages across the body.
Movements and send messages to the bodies.
So there is a specific thing that we learned in our earlier classes about spinal cord. Reflex
Reflex arc.
arc, reflex actions. Yes. Okay. Now that's about psychoneuroimmunology. It's just the interaction between the psychological processes, nervous system, immune system, everything together. And it's also called psychoendoneuroimmunology because it involves the endocrine system, which means the endocrine glands, the pancreas, the pituitary, then the adrenal glands, all those things together. Okay.
Thyroid
So,
is the
yes. Yes, Amar?
thyroid.
Thyroid. Yes, I missed it. Thank you. And next, popular notions about psychology. Before that, so last day we discussed about the different notions, right? You did an activity. Tell me what all did you write about?
Ma'am, at this point it is trolling, ma'am.
Huh?
He's
Troll.
Yeah, what all did you write? What all did you write about? Tell me, what all did you write about?
I wrote the basic definition and then wrote about
Ah,
how it helps in identifying and categorizing different human behaviors like phobias
okay.
and other things, and it also deals with assessing the human brain, and it also calculates the capabilities of it by IQ and other means. And yeah,
Okay. Others. Meryl, you speak very less in class. Are you usually silent? No.
And
Did I ask you this question before? Nah, whatever. Tell me.
so I wrote the basic definition like psychology is like a study of mind and all. And psychologists are those like treat like people who have like mental problems or abnormalities.
Huh? Psychologists have mental problems.
Psychologists treat.
Treat. Okay. Then.
That's it.
Can I written
Yeah.
psycho full different notations of psychology also I written.
Notions, not notations yet. It's notions.
Notions.
Huh.
Some psychologists can be classified as a social science, behavior, or conjunctive scientist.
Huh? Conjunctive scientist.
Ma'am, I don't know what.
That's okay. Leave it.
Some psychologists attempt to understand the role of mental function in individuals and social behaviors. Others explore the psychological and biological process that underlie cognitive functions and behaviors.
Yeah, you continue.
Biological behavior, cognitive, humanistic, psychological, socio-culture, evolution of biospheres. William, this psychology was invented
1879.
79 by William Max Wheeler. Psychology.
It's by William Wundt.
Psychologist
Listen. It was set up by William Wundt, not William Max.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Psychologist formula science which studies mental processes, experiences, and behavior in different contexts.
Okay. It's not contest, it's context.
Yes, context.
Textbook, as in textbook.
Textbook.
Yes. Okay, good. Now, anybody else? Please switch on your videos, children. Any other notions of psychology? What people think of psychology?
People think that psychology is a mind.
Psychology?
We others think that psychology that we can read others' mind.
Yes, That is one notion of psychology. People think that psychology is mind reading. Then,
Study of the body language.
okay. Then,
Some things that psychology can control the behavior.
yeah, psychology as such cannot control behavior, but therapeutic process can. It can manage behaviors. One of the
Ma'am, then what
goals,
about manipulation?
manipulation
As in
Manipulating
control
others.
people?
manipulating other people's behaviors for your own good.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not for our own good. Like, no.
Behavior
No,
therapy.
like people who get trained in this field, and then they are not doing this course for a positive purpose. They are doing it for their own good and to manipulate other people. Then they can. That is one of the disadvantage of this. If you know how to modify behaviors, then you can use it for bad purposes, right? But you should not. That's where our
Is
ethics and
manipulation part of
everything.
the dark psychology?
You cannot call it as a part of dark psychology, but still, when we do something bad, everything falls into the dark side now. Maybe. Then, any other notions of psychology? Is psychology common sense?
And to a decent extent, it is common sense.
To a decent extent, it is common sense.
Ma'am, like you said, everyone knows what's going on, but no one knows how to categorize it or how to explain it.
People doesn't know what is psychology actually. If we are studying psychology, only we know about psychology.
Yes. So will that become a common sense?
No, ma'am.
No, not exactly. I mean, there are times when we have to. I mean, if you become a psychologist or a therapist, you have to act with your common sense. At that time, you can't tell the client, please wait, let me check the DSM or let me check the ICD for the criteria or for the things that I should do. You cannot do that. Then and there you have to use common sense, but psychology is not common sense as such. We'll see how and why. So, popular notions about psychology. Most of us act like a psychologist, isn't it? Even before we started the course, we used to give advice to our friends. We used to speak to our siblings as if we knew something about what happens in our mind and body or in relation to it, at least one or two times. And we all have tried to understand why someone behaved in certain manner. Most of us have developed our own theory of human behavior based on common sense. You remember the example which we discussed, one person came late for class and we all had different viewpoints on that person. Remember? Yes, that
ma'am.
was, yeah,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
judgment was based on common sense, right? Yes, but I told you, when we analyze the person, when we take the case of the person, when we know the past history of the person, then we can find out what the real reason is. Okay. And there you can understand how psychology is not common sense. Common sense refers to, if you have text again, underline or else write down. Common sense refers mainly to a set of beliefs and skills that are shared by most people but acquired through no specialist education. Common sense refers mainly to a set of beliefs and skills that are shared by most people but acquired through no specialist education. We have a cliche concept about the neighborhood aunties, no? They judge the son and the daughter in the neighborhood than their own children. Yeah. Yeah. And do you think they are trained in psychology to do that judgment?
No, ma'am.
No,
No.
ma'am.
But they do so by common sense. Their common sense, which does not make any sense to us. Isn't it? Yeah. So such explanations may be biased or contain other forms of errors. Biased means again it contains some form of errors. It can cause errors or it has error in itself, in the judgment itself. Okay, this one, yeah. There is something called Dweck's study in your textbook. Hmm? Please read and come for the next class and we'll discuss it next session. Dweck study. Those who don't have the book, I'll take a photo and send it in the group. Fine. So we have discussed about the different, what do you call, cases that show the relationship between mind and body. And then finally, we started discussing about the popular notions of psychology. And after this, we'll be learning about evolution of psychology, how it all started, how it is now. Fine. Just a minute. Let me take a screenshot and keep. Okay. Good day then. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.